Hello, I'm Dr. Paul Coleman, psychologist and author. Thank you very much for watching today's video. I've done quite a number of videos over the last couple of years, but I must tell you, this might be the most important one. I think I'm going to tell you something today that for me is maybe the most important advice I could ever give you. And the reason for that is because it's going to have to do with not just your personal life and what you might be going through, but also what's happening in the world today. It's a scary, scary world with terrorism and innocent people dying. And in our own country, we have the racial divide and we have the shootings between African Americans and police officers. And I've wondered, what is it that the average person can do, you and me? And I'm not talking about writing to your congressperson or whoever you vote for president. Is there something that we can do so that our lives, personal lives, can still be fulfilling and rewarding and not filled with anxiety or fear or anger, but also that can have a positive ripple effect that perhaps over time can make a difference? And I came up with, well, I didn't come up with it. It came to me as a source of inspiration with one piece of advice, just one. So this video is not going to be like some of my other videos with graphics that tell you 1, 2, 3, 4 things you can do. This is just one thing. And I want to tell you first what happened in my life just this week, having to do with the things you read in the newspaper, as well as my own personal life, that led me to this advice and this inspired guidance that I believe I received. It started out this way. We all know what's happening with race relations. We all know what's happening with African Americans and police officers in this country, the scary things that are happening, the deaths that are involved, the shootings. My son happens to be a police officer in a large city. I'm very proud of him. He's okay. He's not going there. Although this week he did have to be on duty during a very large protest, where I was concerned about his safety, especially after the shootings in Dallas this past week of police officers. Well, he was fine. But of course, as a parent, you worry. And as a parent, you pray. The next day or so, I received word that the mother of a very good childhood friend and high school friend had passed away. And I knew this woman very well and her husband because I had been to their house many, many times as a teenager. They were like my second set of parents because I was there so often. Now, my friend was one of my best friends in high school, and while we've been in touch over the years, I hadn't seen him in like 20, 25 years, and I really wanted to go to his mother's funeral, which was about a 3-hour drive away. So I canceled all my appointments, and I drove there. And I saw my friend, who was delighted to see me, very surprised. He kept putting his arms around me. And I said to him, "Where's your dad?" He said, "Right here." And he pointed to an old man sitting down in a chair who looked nothing like the man that I remember. The man that I remember was actually taller than me. This man, when he stood up, was a full head shorter than me. And his body was ravaged by age and by cancer. So I sat down next to him. I have a lot of fond memories of him. And I placed my hand on his. And I said, "Hi, do you remember me? I'm Paul Coleman." He instantly sobbed. And he leaned into me and cried. And he was crying partly for the loss of his wife of 64 years. But he was also overwhelmed that I would have taken the time to drive 3 hours to see him. I stayed a couple of hours longer. We went to one of their homes for a gathering afterwards, but I had to cut my time short because even though I had canceled appointments for this day, Well, the night before, I received a call from a client who said that her young grandchild traumatically and tragically died this week. And there were many funeral arrangements and family gatherings that she had to attend to, but she desperately wanted to find time to see me today, the day that I was going to be going to this funeral 3 hours away. And she wanted to bring her husband along, who I had met once or twice. So I told her, of course, I would do that. I told her I was going to be out of town at a funeral, but I would be back. And we set up a time. And I left my friend and his father a little earlier than I would have liked. Drove back the 3 hours, came here just 5 minutes before I was to see them. And when they entered into my office, each of them, in turn, embraced me and cried into my shoulder. So we sat down, and I listened to them, and I heard their story of grief and of love. And at the end, they were also very grateful because they knew that I had to drive to get there and that I cut some of time out of my friends. And they were very, very touched by that. When they left, I was very emotionally drained after this very long day. And then I turned on the news and I saw what happened in Nice, France, with over 80 people being mowed down by a terrorist. And then shortly thereafter, I read a news report that said across the country, very soon, was going to be scheduled what are called days of rage, protests against police officers in major cities, including the city my son works at. And I knew once again he would be called to duty, having to protect people while there are people in that protest who I know would wish him harm. I was feeling rather overwhelmed with sadness, with anxiety. And I said, how does anybody deal with what's going on in this country? How do they deal with what's going on in this country while at the same time they have their own lives and their own problems? And I said, I need some help. Can you give me some advice? And an interesting thing happened. I saw a video in my mind. It was like watching myself. I was watching myself earlier in the day, comforting the father of my friend while he sobbed on my shoulder. I saw myself driving 3 hours. I saw myself in my office, again, comforting people who were sobbing over their grief. And I saw them in this video thanking me for my kindness. So I said to whoever it was talking to me, is that the message for me? Am I supposed to find a way to continue to be kind to people? And is that the message you want me to give other people? And the feeling I got was, yes, but not quite. I said, okay, then what else is it? And then I saw in this video me praying. I was praying for my son. I was praying for the mother of my friend who died. I was praying for the young girl who died. I was praying for their families. I went, oh, you want me to pray, and you want me to tell people to pray. And once again, the answer was, no, not quite. Close, but not quite. So I was like, well, what is it? What is it? And the feeling I got was there's really just one thing. And it's this one thing that I want you to do. I was told, pray if you want. It's a good thing. But more importantly, become the prayer. Let yourself be the living embodiment of what it is you are praying for. What am I praying for? I'm praying for my son to be safe. Can I be somebody who in other people's lives, I am a safe person for them? Yes, I can do that. I'm praying for people to find some kind of happiness or contentment or inner peace, even if they're going through difficulty. Can I be somebody who who will take part in their lives, and even for just a moment, if I'm consoling them, if I'm putting my hand on their hand, if I'm just listening to them, can I be someone who will give them an opportunity to have some inner peace or a smile? Yes, I can do that. Can I show them love? Of course. Can I show them thoughtfulness and kindness? Of course. Can I take care of myself while doing it? Yeah, I can do that too. Sometimes you can't be everything for everybody. And I guess that's my message. Don't simply hope for the best. Don't simply grit your teeth and bear it when you're wondering about what's going to happen in this world today. Don't simply pray for others or for yourself, but become the prayer. Don't act kindly. Become kindness. Don't act lovingly. Become love. When you become the prayer itself, you are stepping into a sacred space. And you will be having access to more than you realize. And you're really saying, I'm willing to do this. And they will say, okay. Therefore, we will help you to do it even better. We will help you become the prayer that you speak of even better. Keep in mind something I always like to say. Your suffering need not break your spirit, but your spirit can indeed break your suffering. And let me add to this. Other people's suffering need not break your spirit, but your spirit can indeed break their suffering. I'm Dr. Paul Coleman. You can find me at findingpeaceinyourheart.com. I thank you so much for watching.